All right. Hello, everyone. It is just I left over. When I did my Ask the Drinker stream the other night, I still had a few super chats that were outstanding, and I just can't leave them. It wouldn't be right. So I am going to get through them just tonight. Bear with me 1 second just while I bring up the list. Here it is. I think there was one or two that was still on the chat for tonight. Scott, who said, "Can I just say subscribe to this channel for movie reviews? The live streams are largely cack." Thanks. Can we have a little less of the live streams, please, and more movie reviews? Hey, man, I put out movie reviews all the fucking time. What do you want from me? I think if you're just looking at my other, my second channel, that's where I re-upload all the live stream stuff. So that's where it goes. And yeah, generally I only stream once a week. Fucking hell. There's plenty of guys out there who stream every day. Diano says, I hope you guys get the chance to do more of your own projects your way. I very much echoed that when I was speaking to them there. They came across as pretty good guys, I would say. You know, they're trying to do their best in a pretty high pressure environment where there's lots of people and lots of money floating around, I guess. And it's it sounds like it's pretty tough, to be fair. What's the next one? Next one is... so if I bring up the list of super chats from the other night, the first one, which is super bright because it's all white there, was from Andrew Romanowski, who says, "Hello, Drinker. I'm a big fan and aspiring writer. What do you think of the 90s Disney version of The Three Musketeers? Do you think it warrants a Drinker recommends?" I remember it being really good. I just remember it being a fun, old-fashioned adventure movie. Don't have any huge huge recommendation for it, but I don't remember disliking it either. I thought it was pretty good. Next one is Diano, who says, "Are you looking forward to the Game of Thrones Jon Snow show?" No, I'm fucking not. I don't want any more Game of Thrones. I'm just done with it. When I brought it up the other night, everyone was just tired when they didn't want it, and it just seemed really sad that they're bringing out more Game of Thrones stuff. It's shit, man. Mizzy Moore says, "Thoughts on The Boys season 3 so far? Personally, I like it, but a lot of issues. Preferring much better than season 2, not much as season 1. Yeah, season 1 was good because that was when they were still trying to rope you in. So they knew they had to work properly hard and produce something that was actually balanced and good satire. Now it doesn't really feel like satire anymore because it's kind of one-sided. It's not really about making fun of both sides equally and just, showing the silliness of all of it. It's now very much about pushing one side of the argument. I saw that with season 2 for sure. Not so much. I haven't had any real contact with season 3 yet. I just haven't got around to watching it. I've been watching Stranger Things and Love, Death, and Robots, which is really fucking good. I really like that show. Anthology series. Every episode's different, but some of the animation is absolutely fantastic. So if you are looking for something to watch, Love, Death, and Robots is really good. Oh yeah, and I have to do a proper review of Kenobi soon. Claudia Rogojan says, "Instead of shooting the dinosaurs, they capture them and put them on an island again. It's just the same island escape story over and over again." Yep. Because what else can you really do? Black Sun says, "Gods of War 6 might be Mayan, so there's Aztec history there." That could be interesting, actually. But I thought it was going to be more Norse mythology. I thought it was going to have Thor and stuff in it. That's God of War 5. So would this be like the one beyond that? Who knows? We've got to get through all the ancient religions. What's this one? Surprised they haven't done an Arya Stark show, thank God. Yeah, please, no more. What do I think about the new Elvis movie? I'm actually quite interested in this. yeah, I enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought that was really good. So if it's on that kind of level, the guy that they've got to play Elvis looks pretty good. So yeah, I'll be interested to see it. Yeah. What do you think about? No, sorry, I stopped watching Kenobi after episode 2. There's just nothing there. That is very true. But sadly, I have to review it because I've seen it all. I don't know if it was worse than Boba Fett, because Boba Fett was proper farcical nonsense. But there's not much in it. Michael Coates says, thanks for all the entertainment. Have you seen the show Burn Notice? So much fun compared to most of what we're getting lately. I haven't seen Burn Notice, I'm afraid, no. Taker610 says, Drinker, if you were legitimately offered the chance to finish A Song of Ice and Fire, would you take it on? George is knocking on death's door, honestly. Probably at this point, no, because he's taken it down a path that I wouldn't have. He's made it so ridiculously overcomplicated that I wouldn't even know what to do with it. I'd have to kill off half the characters just to streamline it a little bit. Daniel Spaceship says, how do you analyze some of the bizarre art house films? I watched Crimes of the Future and I couldn't get my brain wrapped around it, whether it was good or if I even liked it or not. That's a tricky one because, yeah, like when it's an art house film and it doesn't have a standard plot, you can't really analyze it on the normal way of doing things. Like, does it make logical sense? It's probably not going to because it's not meant to. In which case, a lot of the time you just have to fall back on the acting, the visuals, the general kind of atmosphere, the emotions it evokes. Go on that. You know, sometimes movies like that, which are art house films, they don't necessarily make sense, but they leave you feeling something. They evoke something in you, and well, that I guess is their goal. So if it succeeds in that, then it's a good film, I guess. Duval County Rams fan says, hey, Drinker, I was just curious if you had any thoughts on aspiring writers on choosing self or traditional publishing. Keep up the great work. So my advice would be, if at all possible, go down the traditional publishing route, because they are going to have the marketing budget to actually get you into bookstores, to actually promote you, to get reviews. You can't do any of that if you're self-publishing. It all just relies on you yourself, and you're just not going to have the resources. The sad reality is the average self-published author, I think, sells less than 50 copies, and most of them are to friends and family. So that's not what you want, really, for your writing career. Finbar White says, Drinker, could you imagine if Oliver Reed was around today? The media would melt down. I've been watching his interviews that he did, and they're great. Love your take. Chat on him. I love your take on him. Yeah, he's fucking Oliver Reed was something else, man. When he was on Parkinson and he was just dancing and prancing around the stage and just pissed as a fart, I just thought, you absolute legend. The man truly did not give a shit, and we need more men like him. Yeah. Questions more about The Boys. I need to watch season 3 before I can talk more about it. I already did a review on season 2, and I was like, yeah, it feels like the show's losing its way. And it's a shame because I really like season 1. Anthony Sabias Marston said, I remember in your Cowboy Bebop Netflix video, you said you might consider watching Anime, or The Anime. Wanted to know if you've watched it and your thoughts. Yes, so I've watched almost all of it now, and I really like it. Man, like, yeah, like the characters are just really likable. They're funny. They're quirky. Yeah, they're just, it's a really good, fun show. And I just feel like you would never get that from Netflix, from live action now. They wouldn't be allowed to make characters like that. And even the animation's good, you know, all very hand drawn and stuff. But yeah, I like it. Benchievici Vlad says, my commute was awesome lately because of your book and the novella, but now I have just one more, the last one. About movies, I know for sure you will love Hell or High Water and give Wind River a chance. Thank you very much. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the last book in the series. And yeah, I'll keep those movies in mind. I'm trying to flip between the super chats and the live chat here. Yeah. Poor Rags on the sofa there. Yeah, it's just, there she is. She's moving around a little bit. Oh shit, the critical doggo's moving. It's funny because I made like a video today, like kind of a random one of me like trying international snacks, and I was opening all these different like packets of crisps and stuff, and she just didn't move, didn't give a shit. I was like, man, that is a special kind of doggo there. Mike Wilson Art says, will we ever see a Star Wars level event in film that will define an era, or is film destined to stagnate? I don't know if it's destined to stagnate, but it's just, you know, mega blockbusters like Star Wars were unknown back in the 70s. That really kicked off that era of event films like that. And now they're just everywhere. You know, the MCU churns out a new billion-dollar movie every few months. Like, they're not the big, rare thing that they were back then. So I just don't think you're going to get a era-defining film that you did back then. We live in a different world now in cinema. Oh yeah, some great Greek snacks. Oh, that'd be interesting actually. Try something a bit different. The Thai ones were just like everything was just really spicy. It was weird. I don't know why they chose to make them like that. I mean, they were nice apart from the squid. Spencer Stabio says, Drinker, you dastardly delicious demon of critiques. As far as movies go, how do you think 2022 is doing so far? I'd say it's average, because we've had things like The Northman, we've had Everything Everywhere All at Once. So we've had good movies, we've had Top Gun Maverick, but we've had shit ones as well, like all the MCU ones. So yeah, we're kind of awkwardly stuck in between. It is good to know that like good fun movies can actually be financially successful as well, and I just hope that sinks in. You know, maybe we'll get more. Mel G says, I forgot to say I love your reviews and Scotland. Ah, there you go. Thank you. What are your thoughts on the Outlander books and series? Love from Germany. So I've read like the first 3 or 4 Outlander books, and I just fucking died inside by the end. They get so long and so self-indulgent and so like fragmented. Like the narrative would put George R.R. Martin to shame. There's like a million side characters, and there's every one of them gets like an entire book's worth of development. It's just way too much. Like the author absolutely needs to rein herself in. And I don't know if it's just what happens when you get too successful. Like there's nobody there to say, no, this is bullshit. But yeah, it's there was too much for me in the end. But hey, you know, the initial story was kind of cool. Depleted Uranium says, have you watched the original Stargate movie and the series? Yes, I have. Do you prefer Kurt Russell's Colonel O'Neill or Richard Dean Anderson's portrayal? I got to be honest, I prefer Kurt Russell, and I don't know if it's just because he's a better actor and he's more charismatic or what. I just liked him more. I think Richard Dean Anderson, particularly towards the end, he played into that idea that O'Neill was a bit dumb way too much. It's like to the point where it's like, no, this man's fucking like mentally challenged. He should not be in charge of a military unit at this point. Like he doesn't understand anything. He's always got like the dumbest take on everything. So he just went a bit too far with that stuff. Whereas Kurt Russell was a little bit more, a little bit more on the ball, I suppose. Yeah. The answer is always Kurt Russell. Yeah. Yes, there you go. He did play for comedy a bit too much, I think. He wasn't a ridiculous choice, but yeah, he wouldn't have been my choice, I don't think. I think, how much was the script and how much was him? He was executive producer. I think he had quite a bit of say towards the end. He definitely didn't want to be there. I think the schedule of doing like a 22 episode season every year of that show just started to wear on him after a while, and you could tell he was just kind of checked out, and he just started appearing less and less. And by the end, it was just like, nah, 0 fucks were given. Yeah. Give my regards to King Todd, asshole. That was great. Claudia Rogajan said, "Did you ever watch Batman the Animated Series? If so, what's your favorite episode? His Silicon Soul is great. Shows how much Batman hates killing." I never really, I watched the animated series, but like as a kid back in the 90s, and so I've got fuck all memory of it. I remember liking it at the time, but I could not tell you a specific episode. I think I really liked the arc with Two-Face. I thought he was pretty well done there. Jacob Glazer says, "Will you be watching Mad God from Phil Tippett?" Is that animated? I think it is. Yeah, I remember just seeing like a trailer or commercial for that or something just recently. I was kind of intrigued by it. What the future of Star Wars will be? It'll be TV shows, endless TV shows. Seriously, fuck that. I'm so done with it. Ty says, "Have you reviewed Wolf of Wall Street?" No, I haven't, but it's really funny, and yeah, I need to get around to that. Waxy says, "Have you seen Old, the first movie where I've walked out of the cinema because it was that bad?" No, I haven't seen Old, actually, I'm afraid. Sam Stanier Martin says, "Hi, Drinker, huge fan. Have you watched Stranger Things Season 4? If so, what did you think of it overall?" Yes, so I think it hasn't quite finished yet because the season's been split into two, but from the bits that I've seen so far, like I think I'm up to date, it's really fucking good. Like they've somehow turned it around and it's great again. It's not as good as season 1, but it's definitely gotten better. Taker 610 says, "The Room with any other actor as Johnny would have been a complete unknown. No one had seen anything like Tommy before. He was so uniquely odd and funny." He really was, yeah. If you're ever interested in that movie, read The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero. It is a fascinating fucking book about how that film got made. It's really good. C. Gooch says, "Curious, do you professionally critique authors' work? And if so, what are your rates and how do we get in contact? Thanks for the years of great content." Chat, by the way. Yeah, so I sometimes do screenplays. Like I'll critique them and try and doctor them essentially to spruce them up a bit. I don't do novels though because I just don't have time. The amount of time you have to invest in something like that is just more than I have. So yeah, I can't help you there, I'm afraid, mate. But screenplays, yeah, I can sometimes do. I can't read the name here because it's in like Chinese characters or whatever, but he says, "What do you think of Westerns, especially spaghetti Westerns?" I really like them. I like the genre. Yeah, the Clint Eastwood era of spaghetti Westerns, like the Dollars trilogy and stuff, fantastic. Yeah, really enjoyable. And yeah, when you get to that era, oh fuck, the dog's moving again. Are you done or what? Why do they do that? Like, why do they stand up and then twirl around a couple of times and then just sit down exactly where they were? Fucking weird. Anyway, yeah, when you got to like the early 90s and you got those like revisionist Westerns like Unforgiven, like that was a great way to round the genre out, but it gives you an idea of like where the genre goes, where it's like the classic era, then the sort of parody era where it's like subversive, and then the sort of revisionist era to bring it out to a close. And yeah, it makes me wonder if we're going to get there with comic books as well. Next one is Grant Rennie, who says, "Anyone up for a new Running Man set in 2025? Yeah, fucking do it. Do it. Night King 01 says, "I have a recommendation. Code of Silence with Chuck Norris. It's a really good crime film, and Norris is really subdued and not a superhero in it. Also, it has Henry Silva as the villain, his best film. Interesting. Love me a bit of Chuck Norris. So, yeah, I'm all in." Master Malrubius says, "Boobs, Anna Falchi, Cemetery Man, woohoo, dark comedy. What more does a man need?" Indeed, when you got boobs, that's all. Claudia Rogajan, "I looked at one of your books and saw a picture of you from about a decade ago, clean shaven, and then one from a few years ago. I see why you don't want to shave the beard. You look like a different human." I assume that's an insult. So, yeah, the more of my horrifying face I can hide with the beard, the better. The Quartering says, appreciate your work, my dudes. That was for $100. So thank you very much, man. That was much appreciated. Darcy O'Brien says, howdy from New Zealand. Drinker, love your work. I acted in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, recently worked on Evil Dead Rising. Happy to talk sometime. I've got some great behind the scenes stories. Nice one. That'd be a pretty interesting conversation, I think. Yeah. Well, boobs lower ESG scores. Yeah, well, ESG scores can fuck off. Who needs a score when you've got boobs? We need more of them in action movies. Neon Arrakis said, Mr. Drinker, do you enjoy Jingle All the Way? It's always funny watching Mauler and the gang enjoying that film because of how absurd it is. Yeah. It is a truly absurd story. Like the fact that he gets into this insane fight with a mailman over a toy is great. And hey, that's your one and only chance to see Arnold Schwarzenegger dressed up as a superhero. So there you go. It is insane. But it is funny. He's got a bit of a flair for goofy comedy, I think, does Arnold. Very Bird said, it's a big time investment, but Final Fantasy XIV is amazing storytelling, filled with really well fleshed out characters, amazing villains in particular. Strongly recommend. Otherwise, thanks for entertaining us. Yeah, man. I mean, I think Final Fantasy XIII was the last one that I played. Let me see, actually, if that's correct. No, actually, I don't think it is. No, that's probably not the one I'm thinking of. It's might be 14. Let me try it. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 14 online. That was that was another shit one. Fucking hell. Yeah, I might even going back even further. Yeah, I think it was Final Fantasy 12 was the one I was playing. Damn, that's a really long time ago then. Yeah, I didn't like that one. That was garbage. So yeah, I'm glad the new one's better. Maybe it's worth the time. Next one is from Brett Carmody, who says, hey, Drinker, along with Tropic Thunder, Step Brothers has got to be my favorite comedy of all time. Curious to know your thoughts on Step Brothers. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not quite in the same league as Tropic Thunder. Like, I definitely prefer that. But yeah, Will Ferrell, he's pretty fucking funny in it. So yeah, it's still a good movie for sure. Ryan 50 years ago said, here's another $5 for keeping me entertained at work. Thank you, mate. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, just looking at people talking about Final Fantasy 13. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of Final Fantasy chat. All right, okay. I'm getting caught up in the Final Fantasy chat. I need to get focused. Gallifreyan Avengers says, Drinker, favorite character in Stranger Things? Christ, who do I pick? Steve's awesome. Yeah, I Hopper in season 1, really liked him. Hated him in season 3 because they turned him into a fucking clown, but he's turned kind of good again in season 4. Who else? There was one more. Most of the kids are actually kind of annoying. Yeah, even 11 got kind of annoying in season 3, but she's again pulled that back quite well. Yeah, I think probably Hopper and Steve would be my favorites. Dustin as well, obviously. Yeah, Dustin's fucking great, and they've got really good chemistry together, him and Steve. Yeah, people are saying Dustin. Yeah. Night King 01 says, ever thought of doing an open bar with members? That'd be an interesting one, actually, because I don't have channel memberships open at the moment because I just don't have time to maintain it all. But that's an interesting thought. Super Grova says, Drinker, coming to you on on a stop homewards from Dallas. Where were you when there is a plush spirit hail? Please, how can we find a schedule for when you'll be on live? I hate missing open bars, and they don't seem to be advertised. Help. So open bars are usually on a Thursday night. They're usually every second week because in between I tend to do like a happy hour or whatever else. Thursday nights, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it usually starts. Master Malrubius says, check out Harry's Farm, which is a spin-off of Harry's Garage. Harry Metcalf, who was an editor for Evil Magazine, reviews new cars and has his own car collection. Fair enough. Pyro said, noticed you've been using clips from Clone Wars and Rebels recently in the vids. You've been watching it, or just a few out of context clips that you know of? So sometimes it'll just be, I wanted to get a breadth of like Star Wars content. So like it might be stuff from the prequels, the OT, Rebels, Clone Wars, that sort of thing. If I'm just making a general point about Star Wars, and it helps to spread it out over all those different franchises because there's less chance of getting caught by copyright. So anything I can do to like break it up a little bit, that's usually the best way to do it. So that's usually my reason, but not a huge like expert on the animated stuff. Horsemeat says, how was your time with Trigonometry? So they're a podcast that I did an interview with when I was down in London a week ago. They were great, really nice to talk to and stuff. The interview should be up pretty soon, I think. They said they were going to let me know when it goes up. So it was funny because there was a fucking heat wave in London and I turned up to the studio not realizing that it was going to be on camera, and I just had like a loose shirt and shorts on, and I was sweaty as fuck because I'd been on the London Underground, so probably didn't look my best on camera, but there you go. That's the harsh reality of being a YouTuber. Next one, Claudio Rogerjan said, question, what do you and Muller like The Dark Knight? Muller's sarcasm on the last stream was confusing me no end. Please elaborate. Do you and Muller like The Dark Knight? I generally like it. I'm not sure what Muller's take is on it. I know he's not a fan of The Dark Knight Rises. I think probably they've done either an EFAP on it or they've discussed it like in quite a lot of depth and probably picked a lot of holes in it. I probably need to ask him, I guess. Alien Pubes says you should watch Salo, 120 Days of Sodom, masterclass in filmmaking. Don't know, man. I've not seen it. Paul Morton says you're going to have a field day with Buzz Lightyear, mate. So Buzz Lightyear, or just Lightyear. I don't know if I even want to watch it. It just seems like shit. And it's kind of a kid's movie. I just don't know if it's worth my time. Mubarak Titola says, any tips on writing superheroes? Not really, because I've never done it. So I don't know what I would do to approach it. I'm just done with superheroes. Don't want any more. Hades Primera said, a bit off topic, but if you could see a death battle between a Lord of the Rings character and a Game of Thrones character, who would you like to see? I'd personally like to see the Witch King versus the Night King. That'd be fucking good, actually. I'd like to see Aragorn take on probably Jon Snow. I think that could be a good fight. Who else? Yeah, who could Gandalf take on in the Lord of the Rings? Or sorry, in Game of Thrones? Yeah, I'd like to see him take on the Red Witch and just fucking annihilate her because she was annoying as fuck towards the end. Super Grova says, also you watched or going to Outer Range on Amazon. No one in the group has mentioned it, and I'd love to hear your review. If you do watch those spoilers, it'll be rough if no season 2. Cheers. It's end on a cliffhanger. I can't believe I missed this one. Ned Stark versus Boromir. That'd be amazing. Sean Bean versus Sean Bean. That'd be brilliant. Yeah, I haven't watched Outer Range, so I don't know anything about it really. I haven't got anything to review there. David Fox says, I just saw Jurassic World Dominion. That's 2 hours I'll never get back. Trash story. Well, I did warn you. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I told you not to watch it. I said it was shit. Jane Hamlet said, Drinker, brilliant to hear you're a fan of the Fringe. We're taking a show up this year. More than happy to shout you a ticket. Cool. What is your show? I guess would be my question. But yeah, the Edinburgh Fringe, fucking great. It's been off for 2 years because of COVID, but it's finally back again. So fucking rock on. I've had some great days out and nights out at the Fringe, just seeing absolutely random shows. Some of them are absolute garbage. Some of them are amazing. Doesn't matter when you're drunk, really. Jason Amigos said, hey, Drinker, check out Attack on Titan, please. A much better story than what most of Hollywood has to offer these days. Yes, I've heard it's really good. Josh Noble said, would you consider expanding to books? I'm currently reading Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. It's the basis for Die Hard, and it's bad. The screenwriters really pulled the gem out of this mess. Yeah, I mean, I've talked before about book reviews, and the thing is, nobody really cares about them, so it's almost not worth your time. And you've got no visuals to work with. With a film, you could pull footage out for whatever, but with a book, you got nothing. So it's not going to make a great video. Your friendly neighborhood ne'er-do-well said, would you ever consider checking out the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance? It's almost entirely practical effects and expertly used minimal CGI. I'm intrigued. I would take a look for sure. Jaro Mayo says, what's the best and worst stunts in movies you've seen, in your opinion? The worst one I think I've ever seen was in The Transporter 3 when Jason Statham's got a bomb attached to the bottom of his car and he drives it up a ramp, flips it over, and in midair, like the hook from a crane just snags the bomb and like pulls it off. That's like the worst shitty CGI nonsense I think I've ever seen. Yeah, in terms of like practical stunts, pick anything from like the Mad Max movies because that was all practical stuff and some of it is dangerous as fuck. I always loved the bit in Terminator 2 when the chopper flies underneath the overpass because that was insanely dangerous apparently. And yeah, it's just a quick scene, just goes right by. You don't even think that much about it until you actually consider, holy shit, they actually did that. They flew a chopper under a highway overpass with like a few feet to spare. That's impressive. Steve Barr said, your choice of dinner date is Amber Heard or Brie Larson and you're out of beer. What do you do? Fuck. You bastard. Oh, you bastard. I think probably Brie Larson. I hate to say it, but yeah, she seems like less of a monster than Amber Heard. Like, she's an asshole from what I can tell, but yeah, she's less likely to try and beat me up. So yeah, I think I'd go with her. Stan the Milkman said, I'm watching Chinese films now. Watched Red Cliff 1 and 2 again. It's refreshing not watching something without DIE shat onto it. Check them out. The 800 is awesome too. Fair enough. Yeah, not too familiar with Chinese cinema, I'm afraid. WG Valente said, thanks, Drinker, for your high quality and well-articulated content. I long for the day when our beloved media becomes so bad that everyone chooses to opt out of it. Out of curiosity, what do you think of the movie Flatliners? And that was for $50, so thanks, man. Flatliners, I thought, was pretty good. That had Kiefer Sutherland in it and a bunch of other like early 90s, late 80s actors. Yeah, there was some interesting, not horror, but like kind of supernatural stuff in it. I thought it was fairly well done. I cannot remember the ending for the fucking life of me, but some of the creepy stuff in it was pretty good. Jay Avarice said, Henry Cavill is the only reason I've hope dread we may see a Warhammer 40k movie series, but I would think it would be legit too much money to make it decent. I don't trust the lore in most hands too. Yeah, I think a Warhammer, I hate to say this after talking about practical effects, but it would have to be about 95% CGI. There's no other way you can represent the world of 40k, especially like the Astartes and stuff. You couldn't even use human actors for that. Like they don't even look vaguely human. So not to mention the worlds, the technology, the weapons, the ships and everything. None of that can be done practically. So yeah, it would be an expensive movie for sure. Black Sun says top 2 grossest deaths in cinema in your opinion. There's so many, and I talked with Mahler about this, like horrifying deaths and stuff. Bone tomahawk is one for sure. Like getting scalped and then forced to eat it and then split in half is a pretty horrific way to go. I always hated it in Saw 3 as well. I think this is the one that put me off the Saw movies, where a guy's strapped to like the best way I can describe it is like a mechanical rack that twists each of his limbs in turn until like they snap and the bones like jut through and stuff. So it does like his arms and his legs, and then eventually his head like twists it around until it snaps his neck. And it's just the fact that he's like strapped in and he can't move. It just seemed like such a horrible way to go, knowing that it's like one limb after the other. That's pretty awful. And the other one that always stuck with me was Law Abiding Citizen, where Gerard Butler, I think he gets one of the guys that like killed his kid at the start of the movie, or his wife, I can't remember which one it is. And then he just straps him to a table and then just like starts dismembering him. And again, like he's explained to him like that he's shot him full of adrenaline stuff, so he can't even pass out from the pain. He's just going to like force him to watch him do this to him like all day. It's just like really awful how methodical he is about it. So yeah, those would be probably the grossest ways to go. Yeah, any of the deaths in Hostel. Yeah, those movies were fucking grim. Oh yeah, that was in Looper. Yeah, where they're surgically removing bits of the guy in the past and he's losing them in the future. Yeah, that's awful. Because it's not even gory. It's just like the bits just disappear. But like, yeah, you can just picture what they're doing to him. Ginger Gandalf says, love the videos, but I think we're all waiting to see a playlist critiquing what paint stripper is best for a night out with Tatiana that won't kill us. Yeah, Dulux, they do the best paint stripper. Skip Cole says, thank you for doing a voice in Dungeon Crawler Carl. We loved your drunken dwarf train conductor. Thank you, it was a pleasure. That turned us onto the DCC books, and now we have listened to all of them. Also, I tell everyone about your awesome videos. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Ron Quixote says, enjoying your Ryan Drake series. Ever seen Miller's Crossing, the Coen brothers movie? Sharp dialogue, great acting, tight story. Make for a good movie review. No, I haven't actually. Yeah, I'm not as well up on my Coen brothers as I should be. And Gerald Armstrong said, have you seen Tyrone Magnus's reactions to your videos? I'd love to see a collaboration between you two. I've seen some of them, yeah. Yeah, he seems to get a real kick out of my videos, so I'm glad he's enjoying them. And who knows, we might get him on open bar sometimes. Strange New Worlds. I've heard it's actually meant to be pretty good and the most Star Trek thing that we've had, either since the Orville or Star Trek Enterprise for like 15 years ago. But man, I just don't know if I can bring myself to watch modern Star Trek, even knowing it's better than most of the other stuff. It's really burned me. I'll keep an eye on it, and if it does get genuinely good, maybe I can be tempted to watch it because, hey man, like if Star Trek makes a comeback, that would make me happy. You know, I'd like it to. I just don't believe that they've got it in them. I think that's pretty much us done, actually. Let me just check. See if any extra super chats came in while I was talking there. Scott said, how come you never reviewed Dexter? Because I never watched it. Don't know what to say. It just kind of passed me by at the time. United Engines of America says, hey, Drinker, I recommend watching American Graffiti. Thank you very much. Good recommendation. Tanabata says, I've been listening to your reviews when going to bed since the Black Panther one. Christ, that was a while ago. Have you seen the Korean action movies No Tears for the Dead, Man from Nowhere? If so, what is your feedback? No, I have not seen them, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that. Random Eskimo said, with movies sucking so hard, how about a marathon of typical 80s offerings? Lethal Weapon, Tequila Sunrise, Ferris Bueller. Yeah, I'd absolutely be up for that. I've already done a few of them on these like happy hour streams. Alex L says, do you like craft beer? Yes, I'm always up for a craft beer. I'll drink pretty much any beer, to be fair. But yeah, it's nice to try like these like small batch ones. The Horrific Podcast says, I watched and reviewed The Black Phone this weekend. It was fantastic. A really tight, suspenseful movie. Nice. Gerald Armstrong says, congratulations to Top Gun Maverick for reaching the $1 billion mark. Yes! They did fantastic, and I'm really pleased the movie's done so well. Jim Alaska said, read your first book, and it was excellent. Can't wait to read the rest. Thank you. And yeah, hope you enjoy them. Grey Cloud says, do things matter more or less when you're high compared to drunk? I would say less. Both, compared to drunk. Probably more. Yeah, when I've always found when I'm drunk, like, all my problems just kind of float away. But otherwise, yeah, I'm still kind of conscious of other stuff. So, yeah, I prefer to be drunk. Thomas Wright says, do you follow the bands Stormseeker or Rum Ahoy? No, but now you've got me intrigued with Rum Ahoy there. Jeff Kincannon says, Howdy Drinker just became one of your Patreon patrons. Really enjoying your content. Good puppy too. Thanks, man. And yeah, appreciate it very much. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the stream tonight. Like, thank you for everyone. I hope you've found this kind of interesting. I do try to bring in people from like the industry from time to time so they can talk to you and give you a bit of an insight into how this is all done and I guess the sort of the shit that goes on behind the scenes, because it's easy for, like I said before, it's easy for me to sit and critique it and say this is shit or whatever. But it's interesting to get the other perspective. So hats off to Adil and Bilal for coming on tonight and being fairly honest. And it was good to chat to them. And yeah, thank you to you guys. Thank you to my mods for keeping the peace. And yeah, thank you for everyone who super chatted. And yeah, I guess the next time I catch up will be later on in the week, potentially Thursday. I might do a happy hour. And if so, I will catch you guys then. But for now, that's all I've got for today. So go away now.